Morning. This is Turn Your Messaging into Magic. And today we're taking a little bit different approach. So where normally we talk about tips for making your messaging even stronger, or getting to the heart of what your messaging is covering, telling your story, uncovering how your story connects with your audience and adjusting it to reflect their needs and what they need to understand to believe you. So that's what we cover a lot of the time. Today, we're taking a different approach, and that is actually telling the story. That is actually figuring out how to get it down, whether it's a story that you're writing or whether you're hiring someone to write it. And there's two super common things that occur. One, if you are hiring someone, you have to figure out how you can communicate the story, communicate the process, and ensure that they are on top of your plan. Right? So you have to make sure to manage the implementation of the writing, which is really challenging because unless you have a solid framework for writing it, you don't want to rush the creative process, right? You want to make sure that your writer's getting it just right. And therefore hiring someone can be difficult at best. Not from finding someone, but finding the right person to tell your story, finding the right person to tell your message, and helping them nail your voice, helping them get it just right so it really does sound like you. And the first project may or may not be right spot on, but future projects should. And so, one of the things I hear a lot is, man, I've worked with a lot of copywriters, but they always get it wrong. Or copywriters never seem to get my voice just right. And it's really frustrating. And it's really frustrating for you because you don't want to make tons of edits. But it's also really frustrating for the copywriter because they think that they're doing exactly what you're looking for and there's some kind of disconnect. No one, to that point, no one wants endless rounds of edits. It's frustrating, for lack of a better word. So how do you solve that problem? How do you onboard someone so that they know what you're saying, how to say it, they understand the goal of the project, they understand key points to offer? So that's the one side of the problem. That's the person hiring the copywriter. But what if you're the copywriter? We've all been there. And if we haven't been there, we've heard the stories of the project that never ends, the expectations that we thought were clear, but for some reason weren't, the endless rounds of edits, and the time in a project that all of a sudden makes it either so frustrating or not profitable. And everyone has those projects at some point, and it's okay, it's normal, it is frustrating, but there are some ways that you can get around it. And so what I want to share with you is something that is a powerful tool, both for copywriters and the brands or people that hire them. And a lot of people talk about a creative brief. That's super helpful, right? Because it is super helpful to get in the same page as the goals. I use something that's called a copy deck. And if you are asking what the heck is a copy deck, I have good news for you. We're going to dive really deep into this in about a week's time. I have an event set up on LinkedIn, but I also have a registration set up on my website. You will see the link in the comments here. Or if it's not in the comments, it'll be right in the description. And the reason that this is so incredibly valuable and important is because it sets expectations up front. It allows people to understand the strategy that you're taking, and it allows people to understand the process and to be on the same page with what your goals are. So, sounds like a magic tool. It feels like it. And I'll tell you the difference in projects from the time I started using a copy deck from before I started using a copy deck to the time it was after is life-changing in terms of project flow. And it's really awesome for client management because they can say, I get it. I see exactly what you're trying to accomplish here. So copy decks are fantastic because they get all stakeholders on board and they reiterate what it is at the top of your project. So who can use them? Just about anyone, to be frank. If you are hiring someone, if you are the hired copywriter, you can really streamline your projects. So Next week's training is going to take a deep dive into exactly what this is, exactly what it looks like, how it's different from a creative brief, what the important elements are, and how to really unleash the power of a copy deck to turn your next copywriting project into a win. Because again, no one wants countless rounds of edits. Everyone wants to know that their voice is heard. Everyone wants to have an especially awesome strategy at their hands. So be sure to tune in. Let me know what questions you have. In the meantime, I'll make sure to answer them.